There's nothing, absolutely nothing quite like the taste of sweet, delicious, fresh Michigan strawberries. That time's coming, and there are lots of amazing ways to serve them up to your family.
It's like baking for dummies recipes, right? Desserts that we can all master. So we brought Amy Sherman of Family Fare in to share her strawberry baking secrets, and Amy told me that I actually get to help this time around. It's so simple. It really is like baking for
I'm going to help too. I'm going to eat.
Work today, ladies.
Perfect.
We're going to earn our bites.
All right.
So strawberries are coming into season. We don't have Michigan ones yet, but we will in June. But right now we're getting them from California, and they are beautiful. And they're on sale this week. 2 packages for $5 at Family Fare.
They're
They're enormous. So
Yeah.
these would be great to do chocolate dip strawberries if you wanted to. Pack them in your kids' lunches. Give them a really great rinse, and then I like to put them on a sheet tray with a paper towel on the bottom and let them dry, so they get rid of all that extra moisture. They'll last longer then if you do that, and then keep them in the fridge if you want. So big, beautiful, gorgeous. So we're going to start off with our first dessert, and this is a pavlova, and this is something that is very popular. It's kind of like the national dessert of Australia and New Zealand. They love it down under. So, but we're going to make it because it doesn't have any fat in the actual pavlova. It's made out of meringue, so it's egg whites. Now it does have sugar in it, but a little bit of sugar in moderation is okay in my book. And meringue can be something that is intimidating to some people, but it really is so very, very easy.
So no flour either. This might be better for some people who have to stay away from that.
Yep,
Wonderful.
exactly.
Now, can you use a sugar substitute, or do you not get that same?
You don't get the same texture. I don't use some of those. I'll use honey, and I'll use things like agave syrup, but those are not going to work the same way in a baking recipe.
Even agave won't work?
It won't in something like this, because it's going to affect the liquid content of the meringue. So
Okay, good to know.
So
use
what
the
do we do
regular
with
sugar.
this?
So all you do is you take your whites and you just whip them. And I use a big KitchenAid mixer, but you could also use a hand mixer, and you just whip them until they turn really, really light and fluffy. Reason why some people have a problem with meringue is because you have to make sure there is no yolk in it at all. Any fat that's in the meringue or in your bowl, if you didn't clean your beaters good enough, that's going to cause the meringue to fall and not get big. So if you've had a problem in the past, it's probably because you had a little bit of yolk left in there, so make sure that you have only the whites.
That's a good tip.
And then you whip them and you add the sugar and a couple other ingredients to put them together, and this is where you're going to go.
All right, here I go.
Other trick, you take a piece of parchment paper, and I'm not sure if our West viewers can see it, but I draw circles on my parchment paper and then flip it over, and that gives me a guideline to make a perfect circle.
So what do you use for the circles?
Just a ramekin, something like this.
Oh, okay.
Fine. Flip it over, take a pencil, draw it around it.
Perfect, okay.
So scoop it down.
Right here?
Yep, and these scoops are great. They can help you with portion control. They can make making cookies easier. They're just a cool thing to have on hand. So once you do that, then you just take a spoon. See, look at you.
I know. How about that? I'm so good at this, Rachel.
Then you take a spoon and you just kind of smear the center of it out to make almost like a cup, because that's going to hold.
Oh,
Looks kind
wow.
of like a tart. You know, we're talking a fruit here, so this is like the perfect little
That's
cup.
exactly it. Then you pop these into the oven at a very low temp, 250 degrees. That way they'll stay that perfect, beautiful white color. If you go higher, they're going to start to brown and caramelize.
Then they just harden up like this, right?
Yeah, and so they're kind of still soft in the center like a marshmallow, and then crunchy and crispy on the outside.
Okay, can you hear this? I mean, it really is incredible that this was in the oven for 200.
But it's soft inside.
It's
right?
kind of soft inside. So then what you do is you just top it with some homemade whipped cream. I mean, if you're going to have dessert, don't mess around and use anything weird. Get the real stuff.
Sampling.
It's just good, right?
Is this for sampling?
A little
It's
less
for
sweet.
sampling, yeah. No
little less
sugar in the
sweet.
whipped cream, just a little vanilla. And then the fresh berries, and I added some blueberries and blackberries, not only because they're full of antioxidants and they're great for you, but because they add some color. And remember that you eat with your eyes first. And if it's really beautiful, you'll be excited about it.
So good.
That's right. Okay.
Simple,
Very,
nice.
very good.
That's
Easy.
great. Turning us on to something new, a new way to use the berry.
Exactly.
But you have another recipe also here.
I
It's
do.
a little more traditional.
This is a little bit more traditional, and this one, Rachel, you are going to make.
Oh, right.
Yummy.
So I make my own pie crust, and this is a tart dough. So it's actually very easy to make. It isn't hard. Like some people are intimidated by pie crust as well because they're worried that it's not going to be flaky or they're going to overwork it or something like that. This one is one that I make that's a tart dough. So it's called a short dough. It's very easy to work with. You can manhandle it. Your kids can play with it. And it's still going to turn out really nice because it's almost like a cookie dough as opposed to a pie dough.
Okay.
Or if you're really challenged, you can head on over to Family Fare and get the pie crust, okay? And just use the one that's already made and
I
rolled out
use
for
these
you.
all the time.
These taste great.
And
They
there's
do.
really no
They're
shame in
great.
that. And it gets you, another step closer to making it. And then the trick that I love, and I know Rachel and I have made these in the past, is
The pan,
using
right.
the tart pan. And so you're just going to push all of your dough up the sides of the tart pan.
And it
so
looks pretty too.
And then you roll the rolling pin right over the top of it, and it will seal it perfectly.
Oh, nice.
So Rachel, you want to just roll that rolling pin over the top, and it makes a perfect edge on your crust, and you don't have to sit there and try to roll the dough or make a pretty flute or anything like that.
Yep.
Baking Made Easy by Amy Sherman. Have you written the book, Baking for Dummies?
I'm going to do that, Terry.
Okay, and you have this special mascarpone?
Yes, so the filling for this, and Rachel, if you want to spread that filling around, again, is so easy.
It's a little firm.
It's a little bit firm. This is a mascarpone cheese, so this is an Italian cream cheese. It's a little bit sweet. It is easy to use. You just take it right out of the tub. And I love anything that's a no-brainer like that, so you can spread it in there. And it has a little bit of a different flavor than a regular cream cheese, which is why I like it. And then all you have to do is put the strawberries on top. And I like to toss the strawberries with a little bit of strawberry jam because it makes them glossy and shiny and gives them a little bit of sweetness. And then it looks like a professional did the tart.
Fantastic.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to have Amy's information online by the end of the day today. And remember, strawberries, these big, fat, juicy, delicious, succulent strawberries on sale this week at Family Fair.
I cannot wait.
I know, so good. And
Got to
good for
get
you.
there. All right.
Thank you,
We have some
Amy.
eating to do. Stay right there. We'll be right back.